those of you who don't know what Hey Man is, this is what we're doing now is instead of just reading comments off the internet, which I'm sure there's a plethora of them this week at following, especially the Cup race, and I dare say the Xfinity Series race, what we're going to do is something is revamping the Hey Man, and I think Preston and I finally got it nailed down here. So pretty much we're going to bring up topics, and if you agree with it, you're going to go, yeah, man. And if you don't agree, no, man. Yeah, no. That's the best we could do right now, and I think that's what's going to stick around. So we're just going to go ahead and hop into it. First topic on discussion, I have a feeling we're going to be talking for a few minutes about this one. Ty Gibbs wrecks Brandon Jones on the final lap to win at Martinsville. Who wants to start?
We'll let Preston go first.
Preston sounds like he was just ready to go on that one.
I don't have too much of an opinion on this one. I want to answer yes and no on this one. I mean, I'm okay with it, but at the same time, not okay with it.
What are you okay with?
Okay, so here we go. All right, so it's basically
bell, like ding 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 ding.
It's a racing deal. Let's be honest. It's a racing deal. Now, I was listening to Sirius XM today, NASCAR radio, and it was talked about heavily today, and how Brandon Jones is upset that he didn't make the final, the championship 4, and they got wrecked by his teammate. But like at the same time, NASCAR doesn't really have team orders. It's not like F1. So like if you have to look at it from a different perspective, like he doesn't have to let him win. But at the same time, I can understand that he wanted to put the bumper to him. But I mean, he did. If you watch the replay, Ty Gibbs did run it in there a little hot and did kind of put the bumper.
Yeah, but keep in mind,
let's be real.
This isn't the first time Ty has just blatantly taken Brandon Jones out of a race this year either.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, at the same time, you'd think this is Martinsville. I mean, there's going to be bumping to begin with. I understand that.
That's not bumping.
I'll be the first one to say that I'm not really a fan of Ty Gibbs to begin with, but you have to keep an open mind with some of these things.
That was closed mind. He knew what the heck he was doing.
Hold on.
I'm just saying yes and no, because honestly, when he compared himself to Jesus, I mean, let's be real. That was kind of a stupid move to say it like that. And then when he was in the media center and they asked him the same over and over again if he, what he did wrong, he came up with the same answer 7 out of 8 freaking times. So I think he knows what he did wrong, but I mean, sometimes you have to keep an open mind about it. But I don't know. I'll say yes and no. I don't really want to jump the gun and say that he meant to completely dump him, but I mean, Ty Gibbs does have a history of doing this as well, like you said, Charlie.
The way he acted after the race, he absolutely meant to dump him, knew what he was doing, 100%. It's not the first time he's done it. He's never going to learn. So
I got it.
Go ahead.
Me and you running first and second, vice versa. I move you out of the way. You move me out of the way. I go in and drive 2 car lengths into turn 1 and just absolutely dump you. Are me and you still teammates and friends after we leave that racetrack that night?
No.
Okay. And not at all.
Well, here's what I saw with this, because I watched this right after we got done trunk or treating there in Dothan, Alabama's Harley Davidson. I was listening to the radio. It was a build up. A lot of wrecks happened there at the end of Martinsville. And Brandon Jones was in a must-win situation in order to go to the Final Four. Needless to say, if Jones would have finished first and Gibbs would have finished second, it would have been no harm, no foul. Both are still going to race for the championship. But when I watched that live on TV, along with my mom and dad and wife, even my mom and dad, who aren't race fans whatsoever, said that was a crappy move on the part of Ty Gibbs. Even fans of the sport who would look at that, and after me explaining to him, oh, those guys are teammates, and he needed to win, and I explained to him the whole situation, both my mom and dad said, what a punk Ty Gibbs is. And he is. He shouldn't have done that. I don't know what he was thinking. And he was trying to pull the old Earnhardt. I was just trying to rattle his cages and not trying to wreck him.
No, he wrecked him.
He drove right in there and drove through him. Now, to Preston's point here, I will say this. This reminds me of what happened at Darlington for the spring race when Logano did the same thing to Byron, although he didn't wreck Byron. And those two weren't teammates.
Yeah, but that was a little bit more clearer. I mean, you could really tell for sure.
I could tell.
Logano sent it a little bit further into 3 than he should have.
Everybody could see that Gibbs sent it into the corner as well with Brandon Jones.
We're comparing apples to oranges here. We're comparing non-teammates going for a win, trying to lock themselves into the playoffs, period, as opposed to teammates. One is trying to win a race, lock himself into an actual chance to win the championship. The other one's already locked in. All he literally had to do was run one more lap, second place, and would have been good to go. Like, hey, Gibbs would have had 2 cars, and at that point would have had a fighting chance to outrun the other 2 junior motorsports cars for the championship. So now Gibbs has to outrun 5 junior motorsports cars instead of 4. And to be honest with you, he's going to have to outrun that whole field because he has made so many enemies this year.
Right.
That if Brandon Jones doesn't take him out before somebody else does, I'll be seriously surprised.
I would be surprised as well because after the race,
I'm telling you, Gibbs will not finish that race Saturday.
Well, unless he just has a dominant car and nobody can touch him. But I will say
he's going to come up on somebody at some point to lap him.
You're going to Jeff Gordon him like Jeff Gordon did to Clint Boyer there in 2012. Because after the race, junior motorsports drivers Josh Berry and Justin Allgaier came up to Brandon Jones and said, "It's okay." And I want to say they wanted to say, "It's okay. You're a junior motorsports driver now."
He probably figured that they were really saying that,
Well, even Brandon Jones said in his post-race interview, he almost blatantly said, "I'm ready to be at JRM." Those guys have a lot more respect.
Yeah.
I don't even see a Sam Mayer, as much as crap as you guys give him on the show. I don't even see a Sam Mayer doing that to a Justin Allgaier or Josh Berry.
No,
I don't see that whatsoever.
No, that organization is run a whole lot better than that. And
it is.
Let's face it. The boy should have been kept in check a whole lot sooner than this. And they've let him just run free. And now they got to deal with the monster they've created.
Because ironically enough, it was at Martinsville in the spring where he got in a fight with Sam Mayer. So it's one of those things now where he's just not creating any friends on the racetrack. Is he being aggressive and winning races? Yeah, he's doing all that. He's doing exactly what he needs to do if you were a Ty Gibbs fan. But it's kind of taboo at the same time, I feel. You don't just go running through people. Now, but I'm with Preston there because I say that, and if he would have just moved him up the track, I think we would have been talking something completely different instead of wrecking.
Here's my take on this whole thing.
If it had been any other race and maybe him just moved him a little bit. Look, that late model race I sent y'all, if you watched it, the one I sent you a messenger, that's moving somebody, and they still fought it out for the win. What Gibbs did was blatantly wreck him. So those 2 that fought it out, and I think it was the Spears Tour or whatever, that was nudging somebody, getting under them, fighting it out for the win. There's nothing about that situation that was going to be handled any other way. There was nothing good that was going to come from that situation by any means. Now, if he'd have nudged him, got under him, I don't even think that would have made a difference in that situation, being that he just cost Gibbs from having 2 cars into playoffs. Now, maybe if he'd have nudged him, got under him, and got a win, and it been, 3-4 races ago, hey, we're talking different story then. But blatantly wrecking him, and he's got to win his way into the final race. Hey, I'm telling you, if I'm Jones, I make sure that he doesn't finish that race. And as soon as that happens, I bring my car down pit road, or I go to the garage, I park it, I get out, and I go sit on top of that 9 box.
And whatever fine NASCAR sends you, I guarantee you, Junior Motorsports will cut that boy a check and say, hey, go pay this.
I don't think Brandon Jones is actually going to wreck him.
I don't think so either.
If he doesn't wreck him, he will definitely make it hard, really hard.
I think he'll hold him up, but I don't think he'll wreck him.
Yeah, I think Brandon Jones is a better classy driver than one of Ty Gibbs.
I don't know now. He handled his interview.
The boy's been
well.
wrecked. The boy's been wrecked by Gibbs 2, maybe 3 times this year. He got taken out at Richmond by Gibbs. Now he's gotten taken out by Martinsville. We're not talking about moved. We're talking about wrecked. And I think that now I think that now he's going to hit him where it hurts.
Yeah, and Jason Reeves says, I guess from NASCAR on Sirius XM, says the media doesn't even want to talk to him now. I take it that means talk to Ty Gibbs. Right
now. Yeah, nobody cares for him anymore.
Well, they also don't want to talk to him, like I said, when he was in the media center after the race, and they kept asking him about the altercation with him and Jones on the racetrack. When he wrecked him, he just gave the media the same response, almost.
When you get out of the car and when you get out of the car and you know you're about to be booed and you're just saying, bring it on. I mean, you knew what you were doing and you knew what was about to happen. But you done it anyway.
It kind of reminds me of a few weeks ago when we talked about Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson here on the show in great detail. If Bubba Wallace showed his true colors there, we've already seen Ty Gibbs' colors throughout the year, but now they have come right to the surface, and you know what kind of driver he is. You know what kind of man he is. He's a punk kid who's gotten handed everything up to this point in his racing career and is possibly going to be handed a Cup Series ride.
Possibly. He'll definitely be in the 18 car.
Ain't no possibly. They've done taken the back and front windshield out and put Gibbs instead of Busch on there.
So pretty much everything right now is pointing to him just getting everything because of his grandpa's last name. If I was Joe Gibbs, I'd be straight up embarrassed of Ty Gibbs, but he's not going to come out and say, oh, yeah, he was 100% wrong. He's just going to say, we're going to deal with it.
If Gibbs was going to be embarrassed of Ty, he'd have been embarrassed a while back instead of kept on saying, well, this is going to be my learning experience.
Agreed.
And obviously he hasn't learned anything. It's all it is, like I said on a couple episodes ago with Wallace's statement. It's a blanket statement. It's a catch-all or a cover-all.
But hey, they're gonna learn from it. They're
gonna learn from it. So, and I think even his dad or somebody said something right after the race too. He's like, well, I think even he said something about learning from it. What is there to learn from it? This isn't the first time you've done it. So
right, it's not going to be the last either.
It's not like you wrecked a different team's car. You literally just wrecked your own stuff
that you got to fix and pay for. Like, where does that equal out at?
I don't know, but that was just take one. That was just a first of what 5 or 6 things we got to cover here.
Go ahead and subscribe to Ramblin' About Racing's YouTube channel. There you can go back and watch previous episodes, even back when we used to be called In the Marbles. Check us out.